Howdy, hi. It is Do Your Job Sports NFL Week 5 picks and predictions. We're looking at our top 5 best bets. Let's get into the video. All right, first things first, we're going to recap the previous week's results. We go 3-3. We'll talk about how we did that, and then we'll get into this week's picks. All right, first game we had Vikings plus 2.5. Sam Darnold, is he the next coming of Christ? Maybe, but he's currently definitely the MVP frontrunner. Packers almost come back in this game, but Jordan Love, too many interceptions. He threw 3 of them. Sam Darnold threw only 1 interception. He goes 20 of 28, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Second game, Colts plus 2. Anthony Richardson gets injured really early in this game. I think it was like the end of the first quarter he got injured. And then it was Joe Flacco's season, round 2. Turns out Joe Flacco still got it. He goes 16 of 26 for 170 yards, slaps in 2 touchdowns, while also getting 3 rushing yards. Attaboy Joe Flacco. Steelers, not enough late. They tried to make a comeback, but were unable to. They lose this game outright. Final score 24-27. Colts win. Final game, Ravens minus 2.5. This wasn't even close. You knew basically from that first Bills possession, the Ravens were winning this game. Derrick Henry goes 87 yards to the house. It's game over from that point. They demolish the Bills. Bills only scored 10 points, which eventually screwed us because we had the over, but whatever. We'll talk about that in a second. Next game are losers. We go 3 of them. Rams plus 2.5 versus the Bears. Come on now, Los Angeles Rams. How are you going to lose? Matthew Stafford goes for 0 touchdowns. He has 1 interception, 1 fumble. You can't be playing that bad against the Bears. Brother, it's Caleb Williams. He's not that good. It's the Bears. What are we doing? Next game, another what the fuck moment from a league veteran. Jets minus 7. Hello, Aaron Rodgers, buddy. Anybody home? You're going to have to go down into your deep meditation cave and think about how you just lost to Bo Nix. It's Bo Nix, brother. Very suspect of Jets coach Robert Saleh. He's been there for, I think, 3 or 4 years. His defense is always good, but his offense, every single year, does not matter who is at quarterback, is atrocious. So I think if the Jets want to win football games, you got to get rid of Saleh. This dude's not very good. Then final game, Bills, Ravens. We have the over 45.5. We got the best number on this. I think this line closed at 48. So we got 2.5 points of value, and we still lose by 0.5 because Josh Allen is fraudulent. He does not win important games. He goes 16 of 29 for 180 yards, a fumble, and the Bills are going to miss the playoffs. I'm convinced. They are not a good. All right, let's get into this week's picks. All right, we got the Thursday night matchup here. It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers headed to Atlanta, take on the Falcons. I am taking the Buccaneers plus 2.5. I like the Bucs here. Falcons offense still has to prove they can compete at a high level against high quality teams. The only reason the Falcons won in their previous week was because their defense was able to score 2 touchdowns. Their kicker went 4 of 4. Their offense did not have a touchdown, not a single one. They would drive down the field and then they would just take 3 points because they weren't able to get it in the end zone. The Buccaneers, on the other hand, did have an offensive touchdown in their previous game, and in fact, they had 4 of them. They beat the Eagles 33-16. I think they are easily the better team here. I don't see how the Falcons are favored. They're not good. The Falcons' offense, straight up, not good. Now, in terms of the matchup defensively, they're both nothing spectacular on defense. They are the 20th and 18th ranked defense in the league. Falcons really struggling to stop the rush game, giving up 145 yards a game on the ground. A lack of rush defense while also trying to stop Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Baker Mayfield through the air. I don't see how you're going to do that. So you got to worry about the ground game, and you have to worry about 2 veteran wide receivers tearing you up down the field. Don't think that is going to go over very well. Was also looking at the over in this game at 43.5, but I couldn't commit to it. This game gives me vibes of punt off, just like kind of like that Jets in Denver game, just punt. So one's going to touch that. The things that makes me take the Buccaneers most here is the Atlanta Falcons offense has nobody. They don't have anyone that's good. Kirk Cousins. Are you actually nervous about Kirk Cousins playing your football team? No, it's Kirk Cousins. Bijan Robinson. Is he a good running back? Sure, he's all right. Algier. Is he a good running back? Sure, he's okay. But they haven't been running the ball well, so it doesn't matter. And in terms of wide receivers and tight ends, who do you have? Your number one wide receiver option is Drake London, a second-year rookie who's not good. Then you go Ray McLeod and Darnell Mooney, two dudes who are horrible. And then your tight end is Kyle Pitts, who stands a 25% chance of every single game to get injured within the first 10 plays. And he sucks. So I'm taking the Buccaneers here. The better team. They have the better offense. Doesn't really matter who's home. Both of these teams are close enough. Buccaneers fans. Well, first off, the Buccaneers don't have people that attend their own home games. So don't really think it matters if they're home or away. They just have the better team. So give me the Buccaneers plus 2.5. Next game. This is a game I'm heavily biased towards, given though I like the Browns. I'm taking the Browns plus 3.5. And I'm taking the over of 43.5. The Browns cannot afford to start the season 1-4. I'm pretty sure the city of Cleveland will be up in flames if we do that, based on how much money we are paying everyone on our football team. Browns coming off a brutal loss to the Raiders. Watson, he looked the best he had all season. I watched the entire game. Watson looked good, under control. He ran the ball when he needed to. He looked like Clemson Deshaun Watson. The only reason the Browns lost for a lot of reasons, but one of the biggest was the end of the fourth quarter, like 6-7 minutes left. The Deshaun Watson hits his 70-yard bomb to Amari Cooper, wide open touchdown. It gets called back because of a bullshit holding call. If the Browns get that touchdown, I think they win the game. Their defense was locked up. They have been stopping the Raiders pretty good in the second half. I think we really do need to shore up the defense, though, in the first half of the games. We just get behind early way too often. So we got to have a defensive meeting. Myles Garrett has to whip these guys into shape and say, hey, we cannot start the season 1-4, or we're all going to be screwed and not get paid. So, also have our starting tight end coming back, David Njoku. He's back in the practice field along with Nick Chubb. Now, granted, Nick Chubb's probably not going to play. David Njoku is most likely to suit up, but there's a small chance Chubb does. It's not very large. I'd give it like 5%, but he's going to be back practicing this week. He'll probably be suiting up in week 6 or 7. Now, the Commanders, they're coming off the stomping of the Cardinals. They scored 42 points on the road. Granted, the Cardinals are a horrible team, and they let them rush the ball for 216 yards. But if you're scoring 42 points against any NFL team, you're doing something right. I think the Browns are going to have to shore up their defense. Browns give up the 18th most rushing yards a game at 124. So me also taking the over is a slight hedge because the Browns are just dog shit on defense. So if they do lose this game and they don't cover the plus 3.5, I think that is because the Browns probably allowed the Commanders to score 30 plus points. So I like the Browns plus 3.5. I also like the over. This game gives me kind of Jaguars week 2 vibes. We took the Browns in the second week to beat the Jaguars. I think they were getting like 4 points down in Jacksonville. We now know Jacksonville's horrible, but I think this is a similar spot. Browns team on the road, a must-win game. I think they get it done. Stefanski, if he does not get it done, definitely on the hot seat. He's been in Cleveland long enough, and he has not produced anything besides one playoff win. So the Browns fans are hungry. We're paying our team too much money to be this bad. Give me the Browns plus 3.5 and the over 43.5. Next game we're looking at, it is the Raiders and the Broncos. I'm going to be taking the Raiders plus 2.5 in this one. Ain't no way the Broncos are going to win back-to-back-to-back games. I didn't think they could win back-to-back games. There's no way in hell they can win back-to-back-to-back. I refuse to believe that Bo Nix is any good at quarterback. The Raiders and Gardner Minshew, they're going to go to the rescue here. They're going to come back. They're going to win this game. Devontae Adams might be back in the lineup. You might have Max Crosby back in the lineup. Those are two guys who are pretty good at football. So I'm going to take the Raiders plus 2.5 here. The Broncos are the second worst offense in the entire NFL, only averaging 271 yards a game, going up against the 21st best offense, averaging 316 yards a game, most of that coming through the air. And again, that has been without Devontae Adams for the previous 2 weeks. You add him back into the lineup, and I think that gives you a lot more firepower. Both teams coming off of wins that they probably should not have gotten. Broncos beating the Jets, Raiders winning against the Browns. This is a massive letdown spot for the Broncos. You win your 2 road games at Tampa Bay and at New York. You then come home. Your fans are going to be hyped up thinking that, hey, maybe this team isn't horrible, just to be let down and realize you have Bo Nix at quarterback. In terms of matchups here, this one's not for the history books, not very good. Bo Nix has 1 passing touchdown and 4 interceptions in all of his starts combined this year. How do you have 1 passing touchdown, 4 interceptions, and your team is 2-2? That answer, you got lucky, and your defense is pretty good. But I'm going to hope it's the lucky part. Minshew, he's already been on a lot of teams throughout his NFL career. This is his first real shot getting the starting job. He's been serviceable this year. Hasn't been great, hasn't been awful. He's 87 of 123, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. With Adams back, I'm assuming those numbers get a little bit better. Vegas thinks this is going to be a low-scoring game. The over-under is set at 36.5. Low-scoring game normally means pretty close. So I like the fact we're getting 2.5 points with I think, what is a better team on paper. Not really too concerned about anybody on the Broncos offense. It is simply, can the Raiders put up 18 to 28 points to win this football game? If so, I think they can do that, and they get it done quite easily. So give me the Raiders plus 2.5. Next game, this is probably my favorite bet of the week. This one don't make no sense. Cowboys, Steelers. I'm taking the Cowboys plus 2.5 and the over of 42.5. No, 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 no. Ain't no way the Steelers are favored at home against the Cowboys. It just don't make no sense. 0 cents. Steelers coming off a tough loss where they lost to Joe Flacco. Let me say that again. They lost to Joe Flacco and the Colts in Indianapolis. Getting torched by Joe Flacco in 2024 has to be quite embarrassing for a defense that was like top 3 in the league before you let Joe Flacco just go and eviscerate your defense. Cowboys coming off a win against the Giants. They did not look good. It was an ugly win, but they got the win. That is all that matters. That is a big positive after coming off of 2 back-to-back home losses. Giants only able to run the ball for 26 yards the entire game. That is impressive, especially for a Dallas Cowboys defense that it was without Micah Parsons for the second half of this game. If they can do that against the Steelers, I think they win by 1,000,000. Steelers still rocking with Fields. I don't know why. I don't believe that Wilson's injured. I'm not really buying this nonsense. I think once the Steelers touch the 500 mark, Tomlin goes, okay, the Justin Fields experiment is over. Let's now put in Wilson and see if we can actually score. Now, I said Cowboys did suffer an important injury with Micah Parsons getting a high ankle sprain. He's questionable for the game this weekend. I'm assuming he's not going to play. There's no real need for the Cowboys to push him here. It's not a conference opponent. If the Cowboys dip to 2-3, it's not the end of the world. Don't see him playing in this one. The Steelers are without 2 of their offensive linemen, their left guard and their right guard, both of them out for the game. And then they obviously are out with their linebacker, Highsmith. I think he's out for a while with like a semi-serious injury. I'm not loving the fact that we're taking the Cowboys plus 2.5, given the sense of the way they played against the Giants. However, I am loving the fact that we faded the Steelers in the previous week, and we're doing it again here. As a Browns fan, this makes my heart happy. And then as a bettor, I like this spot because Justin Fields cannot throw the football. We've seen that throughout his entire NFL career. He struggles with accuracy. And what is the one thing the Cowboys are good at doing? That is stopping the run. They only gave up 26 yards to the Giants. They do that against here. They do it against Najee Harris. I think this is a free victory for the Cowboys. So give me the Cowboys 2.5 and the over 42.5. Steelers defense looked like shit in the previous week, and now you got to go up against Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb in that offense. So I'm going to take those boys. Give me what I said. Let's go. Final game we're going to be taking a look at, it is the Jets and the Vikings. I'm taking the over of 40.5. Well, this is the London game. It's going to be taking place 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. Should be a really good game. Vikings sitting at one of 2 undefeated teams left in the NFL, much to the thanks of Sam Darnold having an MVP season so far. Surprisingly, the Vikings offense is only ranked 9th, averaging 356 yards. You would think being 4-0, you'd probably be ranked higher than 9th in offense, but they're not. They've just been getting done close games. They've been pulling it out. Previous game was high scoring. Final score against the Packers was 31-29. Vikings did not really have a good defense in the second half of that game. They sucked. Vikings are ranked last in passing yards given up a game at 275. If Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are not able to take advantage of this, then they have to fire Saleh. How you have to be able to take advantage of this. They're allowing almost 300 yards a game through the air. You have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. You got great receivers with him. They're young. You have a good receiving running back. You should be able to torch the Vikings defense. Doesn't matter that it's in London. Doesn't matter that it's early and you got to travel. I don't give a shit. If you cannot score at least 28 points here against the Vikings defense, you're doing something wrong. Excuse me, Jets, they're going to have a bounce back game after their gross previous game, in which they only managed 248 total yards of offense and were 4 of 17 on third downs. There were 15 punts in the Browns and Jets game, not Browns, in the Jets and Broncos game. I think we get the opposite of that here. Normally, when London games happen, they're pretty good. I can't remember any like two shitty football games, so I'm going to rock with the over. Seeing it go, this game is in London. Neither team really has a home field advantage, but this is taking away one Vikings home game from them. But I do think the Jets will be more favored from the crowd, given as though the New York name travels. More people know of Aaron Rodgers than they do of, Sam Darnold. So I'm going to rock the over here. I think the crowd doesn't really get into this game, which then affects. Normally, when there's lots of crowd noise, you get flags. You get guys getting pissed off, playing harder. I think this is a calm, chill game of football. We see both teams hit at least 20 points. I could see this being 27-24 kind of finish. Aaron Rodgers drive down the field late. They get a field goal to win the game by Zerline. So give me the over 40.5. And that is going to do it for me and this video. I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.